nearly 2 out of 3 individuals do not get specialty care for a psychotic episode. I'm Dr. Steve Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University. And today, World Schizophrenia Day. And despite popular belief, World Schizophrenia Day it's not about split personalities, as the name even makes sense, but it's about understanding um, in a global context, looking at various prevalences and whatnot. So some of the symptoms of schizophrenia, of course, have to do with having persistent delusions, hallucinations, experiences of influence, control, or passivity. So the experience that one's feelings, impulses, actions, thoughts, they're not really generated by one's self. And so the mind is kind of controlled or withdrawn, and there's a feeling that others are controlled. So these are some delusions that may occur in this condition. Sometimes there's highly disorganized. Um, and so just thinking about how this affects people worldwide, um, surprisingly, this might come as a surprise. 24 million people are affected worldwide. And so that's about 1 in 300. So if we're thinking, this is about 1 in 222 people among adults. So this is typically onset is among adolescents or in the 20s, and it's usually earlier among men than women. So just thinking about some of the prevalences, what I did is, and I'm going to share this link with you within the YouTube description, but in this, I actually pulled up the prevalence of schizophrenia in 2019, looking at the global burden of disease. I've worked with a specific group on the various prevalence distributions, various disease distributions on chronic diseases. So this is specifically looking at schizophrenia, and you can change around these parameters very easily. But looking at this globally first, so these are the global rates. But what's really interesting, and I urge you to take a look at some of these rates and these change them around too. So if you change this to from just 2019 to 1990 to 2019, then this will give you a little bit more clear picture. So first you start off high, middle, socio-demographic index countries. And here you can see that the prevalence is higher among males than females of schizophrenia. And then just going down to low socio-demographic index, there seems to be less prevalence, but this also might be due to the lack of diagnosis, because there's underdiagnosis, as many people don't get specialty care for their condition. So just also taking a look at the middle socio-demographic index. Here, something that's interesting I thought I would point out is that here females are experiencing higher levels of schizophrenia than males. So when you see anomalies like that, these are interesting to point out, and then try to take a look at what may be the actual cause. That usually males have higher prevalence rates, but in this situation, females have a higher prevalence rate. And again, this is in a whole range between 1990 to 2019. If we quickly change that to just 2019, let's take a look at the middle socio-demographic index and see if that changes that. And so, taking a look at the middle socio-demographic index value, again, males have a higher rate. So this is definitely something that is interesting. Um, so this is um, the kind of overall um, prevalence, global prevalence of schizophrenia. Um, More work needs to be done in many areas in spreading awareness of mental health, of the specific condition, um, and uh, the availability of um, overall mental health care. Um, it's lacking within the United States population. Mental care access needs to be much more widespread within communities if we want to rebuild communities and make sure they are healthy and people are healthy and happy. Um, so this is a bit about schizophrenia. Thank you for listening.